Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about faith meets FABU. If you don't know what FABU is, I don't know if it's a slang or where it came from, but usually we use to reference a lie, a joke, or like probably more like a joke, closer to a joke than it's a lie, right? But basically, when somebody tells a FABU, they're telling a joke, but potentially a lie. We will say, hey, you're telling a lie, you're telling FABU. So faith meets FABU, pastors, birth control, and fibroids. Let's listen to this video and let's take it from there.
See one woman and said that she's finding it hard to conceive that does not have fibroid. So I got concerned. I wanted to know what's the major cause of fibroid. I started checking. Let me leave you to go and check, Abby. Birth control pills, abortion pills. Who closed it?
Olodo.
Wait, okay, let's go to
Once people just mount stage, my friend said I should stop calling it pulpit. Immediately the rubbish starts coming out of their mouth. It is no longer pulpit, it is stage. So you mount stage and you just opened your mouth. Wow. Okay, let's assume you are illiterate. There are a lot of people that go into businesses and they thrive. They excel in that business, not because they are educated or they went to school, but because they have common sense. Okay, you decided that you want to do church business. At least to some extent, you should be knowledgeable about some things. Before you climb your stage to preach, you should have an idea of whatever it is that is coming out of your mouth. But no, you just decided to show the whole world how dumb you are. So what you're trying to tell me now is Sarah in the Bible, Hannah, Rebecca, Rachel, and all of them, the reason why they were barren was because they had fibroids due to abortion pills and whatever pill you mentioned. Can you see that there is nothing upstairs? And this is some people's daddy GO. It's all right.
I've not seen one woman and said that she's finding it hard to conceive that does not have fibroid. So I got concerned. I wanted to know what's the major cause of fibroid. I started checking. Let me leave you to go and check, Abby. Birth control pills.
All right, so maybe he was taken out of context. Maybe that was a small clip. Let's give him some grace. But let's use this opportunity to educate ourselves a little bit. Some people will say, well, Google is not my source. Like I go to, when people say Google is not their source, I say, where did you go? And they're usually crickets. They're usually confused. Google it's never anybody's source. Google is more like an indexed, it's a search results index that index sources of truth. Google will lead you and you have to do your research and stuff like that. And today we have the AI tools, we have ChatGPT, we have Gemini, and I use both. And then it doesn't tell me, like, the truth you get out of those things is also a function of the prompt that you put into it. So it's not about just reading them out as complete truth. But the reality is that Google, either you talk about Google, Gemini, or ChatGPT, knows more than all of us. Okay, at the end of the day, it knows more than all of us. So let's just stop telling lies to ourselves just because it sounds good. Google is just no, shut up. Okay, I know on the surface it might sound like you're saying something profound, but there's nothing profound. Google will lead you to better truth than your own close-minded sources of truth. Okay, at least you can learn, then rub minds, and then see, and then come up with your own truth. Maybe a much more educated truth. But this is what my own AI tool is telling me when I ask a simple question: does birth control causes fibroids for women? I didn't have to ask it to know that that's probably false. I didn't have to know that man right there talking is probably just trying to overemphasize on his judgmental stance on the issue of, he wasn't talking about, he doesn't care about fibroid. He just cares he cares about child control. I mean, what do you call it? Childbirth control. That's what he really wants to talk. And he just wants to shame. Okay. That's my opinion. I acknowledge it's a small clip. It's easy to take him out of context, and I don't know who he is. Okay, but let me just read this out loud. The relationship between birth control and uterine fibroids is complex, but the short answer is birth control does not typically cause fibroids to develop. In fact, for many women, birth control is used as a treatment to manage the heavy bleeding and pain that fibroids cause. However, because fibroids are sensitive to hormones, the impact of birth control can vary depending on whether you already have them or what type of birth control you use. 1, does it cause or prevent them? Many studies suggest that long-term use of oral contraceptives may actually reduce the risk of redeveloping or developing fibroids. Some research shows that women who use the pill for several years have a lower chance of forming this growth compared to those who have never used it. My guess is that this young man just started preaching and he didn't feel the need, because all he has is faith, is scriptures, right? So he didn't feel the need to probably do a little bit more research before he makes such an outlandish, crazy claim, right? Another one is conflicting data. While most evidence points to a protective effect, some older and specific studies have shown a slight increase in risk for certain groups, such as very early users or those using high-dose pills. Overall, the medical consensus is that they are not a primary cause. Okay, so can we at least say it's not a primary cause, even if there's some kind of indirect potential if you start using it early? The point here is that there's nuances to this, and like I've always said, the dictionary is not going to give you enough nuances. You have to continue to study, continue to develop yourself, self-development, so that you're not just very quick to run to the dictionary for the meanings of words. You use the words you already know how to use, but you also understand that life, the human experience, has nuances to it, right? So, and if you don't, you will just always be judgmental, even when your intentions are right. You will just be coming off judgmental. In other words, you will kill the level of trust that people can have around you because you are judgmental. Or you will gather people in an echo chamber, that people that tend to be judgmental, and you'll gather them, and then you guys will continue to lead each other astray. The blind leading the blind. Okay. Another one says this is where it gets tricky. Fibroids feeds on estrogen and progesterone. High dose pills, older and higher dose estrogen pills may potentially stimulate the growth of existing fibroids in some women. All right. So that's good to know. Most modern birth control pills are low dose and are generally not thought to cause significant fibroid growth. Hello, Marriott. Good to see you, Marriott. Most modern birth control pills are low dose. Okay, we already said that. Now, another one says methods like the mini pill, the hormonal IUD, Marina. I don't know what these things are. You guys can educate yourselves in the comments. Or the Depo-Provera. The Depo-Provera shot contain only progestin. These are often preferred for women with fibroids because they are less likely to trigger growth and are highly effective at thinning the urine lining to stop heavy bleeding. All right, last but not least, if you have fibroids, your doctor might actually prescribe. Hold on 1 second. If you have fibroid, your doctor might actually prescribe birth control. To 1, it thins the uterine lining, reducing the heavy flow. Over cost, by the way, of course, talk to your medical professionals, right? By stopping ovulation, it reduces pain. By stopping ovulation and regulating cycles, it can decrease severe cramping. And then number 3, manage anemia by reducing blood loss. It helps prevent. Okay, so to our pastors, okay, please, let's stop all the FABUs coming out of the stages. Some of them are on the internet. They literally say things out of their ass because it will push a certain religious. We need to be careful, okay? If I were you, I would put everything in my power to start separating faith ideologies from what we know and what we'll continue to discover. Okay, just separate the two. You can still preach your gospel without being manipulative, without using manipulative or faith-based manipulative tactics. I'm going to bring up another story momentarily to continue to highlight that, but let me know what your thoughts are below. We'll take it from there. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Let's move on to some other trendy stories around the world. This is Ola, Man of Prestige, your favorite relationship and marriage coach. If you enjoyed this, smash that like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Be a part of the Prestige family. My wife Lola and I have written 2 powerful books, Get My Marriage Back and Number 1 Red Flag. Yours free at manofprestige.com. For personal coaching, send me a WhatsApp request.
For consultation to +1 732 305 8577. Stay tuned for more. Your journey to love and prestige starts here.